Well, hello. I'm just doing a live. I'm outside, y'all, in the sanctuary. And this is not scheduled. This is live. Just pondering. I was reading and actually, it'll be fun to see who comes in to the chatmosphere unannounced without any, let's see, and anywhere else like Twitch or Facebook. Hey, I see somebody is listening. Hello, good morning, grand rising, and all of that good stuff. This is just an unscheduled live stream. Welcome. Look at that, my beautiful sister who's been, I'm going to call our radio chatmosphere. It's like we're doing, like, steam. We talk about steam and vapor when we were doing our historical stuff. And, I'm thinking like steampunk radio, steam radio, because I'm catching some vapors. I want to tell you about it. Oh my goodness, look at that. This is fun. I might do this more often, okay? If you don't mind, I'm not going to cam up at this moment because I'm in my hippie kind of barefoot raw. You know what I'm saying? Like when I let the sun just bake on me and I'm you know, what do you want to call it? Oh, look at that. Blunts up. Yes. Look at that, Karen. Shout out, Karen. I might do this more often. I just wanted to listen. I want to ponder with you all. Let me know if I'm tripping, okay? You hear the birds, they are like loud. They act like they're from Philly. Y'all act like y'all from North Philly up there. Those are the deep down dirty south birds, the dirty birds. I have all kinds of birds in the sanctuary with me. And Josephine's out here, but I want to ponder a minute, Karen. Something hit me and I said, "Wait, I need my people. I need my chatmosphere to help me." You know how it hits you later and you're like, it hits you different and you're like, "Wait a minute now." Okay, so I'm going to run it by you in just a minute. But grand rising, beautiful sunrises and sunsets. We have been in that radio situation. I'm telling you, I know people say, "What the hell is she doing now? She's doing freaking radio." What? But trust me, there is a interesting method to my madness. Okay, trust that I see something unfolding. It's a journey and I'm just being faithful and obedient to the calling of the journey. I shared with you all that I'm calling it 410. Okay, so when I say 410, I want you to just say, "Just begin." Okay, so let's get a new thing going. When I say 410, just say, "Just begin." Okay, and I'll explain that later. But we've been steaming on the radio. Yes, you can call it what you want, pirate radio, because we need to take these airwaves. Okay, we need more people getting on these airwaves. If you don't like camming up and doing all this stuff, you can start your own radio station on Station Head. You might have a hobby or something. You could mix your truther stuff in it. I mean, I'm just giving ideas right now. Okay. Mrs. Bailey, too. Good morning. Good morning. Unequally Chris, good morning to you. Shouts outs. And the beautiful Harlem Sentinel. Karen is here. And yes, 420 Wild Dragon. I've been missing you. I've been wanting you on the radio steam. Okay. Molly. Yes, Molly. Yes, yes. Yes, and who is this? This is Steel Letty. Everybody give Steel Letty a nice, warm chatmosphere welcome because that is a new name to me. Welcome to you, Steel Letty. And let us know where you are entering in from, if you don't mind. If you're like from another country, we just love our international family. It's so nice, but we want to give you a warm. That's right. Beautiful sunrises and sunsets. 410 just began. That's right. Yes. I love it. Unequally, Chris, you said 419 is what? At loading? Okay, I'm gonna explain it. Yes, 420 is entering the chatmosphere from Canada stan, okay? Where Trudeau Castro allegedly is doing the thing up there. He's bugging out up in Canada, okay? Just like we got Jojo Magoo doing his thing down here in the Americas. They're trying to tear the damn Americas all the way up. What are we going to do about these wild clowns? Johnny Borealis is here. Hello, hello. Oh, Charleston, South Carolina. Oh my gosh, I love, love, love Charleston, South Carolina. I'm going to be, listen, Stiletti, I have lost my travel bug. I had such a travel thing. I needed to travel like somewhere every 6 months. I know I was running from a lot. I can face all of my stuff. Okay. So yeah, I traveled a lot because I was running from a lot and whatever. I love to travel. So it was all an adventure, but I love Charleston. I've spent some time like on business. We used to have meetings when I worked in pharmaceutical, and you know how they are. They wine and dine you. And well, they used to. I don't know what it's like anymore, but I was working for the big pharma in the gravy train days. Okay. That's when we would take the doctors and oh, the sky was the limit, okay? And those doctors hoard for us like you can't imagine, okay? And I will tell you more about the big pharma journey, okay? So we're going to do some big pharma breakdowns because it's a lot to be said. But yes, we spent time in Charleston. They take you to all the schwanky restaurants, the Michelin this and the 5-star this, and you're sitting at the chef table that. And that's how pharmaceutical work used to be. And I've eaten at restaurants in some of the all the cities in America, the best, and it meant nothing to me. It was all empty. And the end of the day, I would want a McDonald's after eating all that fancy food. But you all have some good food in Charleston. I like the food that comes from the people down there, and that's where you have a lot of the real Americans down there, and they're good people. So I love it. It's beautiful. I hope to spend some time back there very soon. But thank you for joining. And Mrs. Harris, my Jawn, happy hump day, everyone. She says, thank you, thank you. Fresh seafood, that is for sure. Oh my goodness, I love the seafood. And I've spent time in Defusky, I was just talking to my cat. Yes, I talk to my cat. Okay, Stiletti, if you want to hang out, like I'm just giving you a disclaimer right now. I talk to my cat, Josephine, and she's out here outside with me right now, and she traveled with me. She came into my life right before literally the day before the shutdown. And when I went to, and she's from Savannah, she's born and raised in Savannah, my cat. And Savannah is wonderful. It reminds me a lot of Charleston, where Stiletti is from. If you all know the South and all the beauty here, it is a lot to see. You do not need a passport to go and see the beauty of the coastal Carolinas, I'll say. I don't want to leave North Carolina out, as well as, of course, South Carolina and Georgia. Okay. And there's a lot to see, lots of islands, lots of history. And like Stiletti said, fresh seafood and not expensive. You can find a lot of affordable places. You don't have to go to the Michelin 5-star this and that. You can eat the food that the locals eat that is always more affordable. Hopefully still now. I don't know, because I haven't been out there mixing in the travel severe. But thank you for joining unexpectedly. You talk to your cat too. Yeah, this is the thing. Unequally, Chris, my cat Josephine came into my life at a time where she was a great companion during the big lockdown quarantine of humanity. So imagine this cat comes into my life the day before the lockdown. And I just happened to go to the, Humane Society in Savannah, and one of the workers, she was trying to get me to look at one of the cats that was their favorite. It was their pet cat, and that cat was always like, that cat was outside, like outside of the crate or whatever, and all the visitors were playing with that cat and giving that cat all the attention. So she was trying to herd me over to their little favorite cats, I guess, or maybe the ones with a sad story, because some of them are, a hard story type of adoption. So I looked at the favorite, cats, and then I don't know, something told me to walk over to this one cage. And Josephine walked right up to me and she put her paw out to touch me. So, okay, everybody who's ever met their pet the first time, you know what I'm talking about when that happens. They literally choose you. Now, if I had been someone that said, oh, well, she's in the crate, I want to go with the popular one over there, the popular black cat, I would have made the choice that is typical and easy, right? No, I went for this cat who was sitting in the corner and then got up and walked to me and reached her paw out. And that was it. You have to go with something like that if you're selecting a pet. And so then when I went through the adoption process, one of the workers told me that Josephine was so close to being euthanized. Like, she was literally next up, almost like like they it was something. She basically told me something about, like, she would have been wherever she was prior to wherever, I don't know, but the thing that got me was just the fact that she told me that a lot of black cats are not adopted because of the stereotypes that people have put out there about black cats being evil, the cats of witches, and all of those things. I know that's another reason people think I'm a witch, because I have a black cat. So it's many reasons, I know, and I brew kombucha and all of that kind of stuff. But so Josephine ended up going with me when I went to New York City. Imagine that. So everything is all shut down. Josephine, I have her in a backpack. Josephine has a traveling, like, in my backpack. Yeah, we're cat people. I got one from my daughter because literally she had a cat enter her life right in 2022. Can you imagine? So I'm saying 2020 as well. Like, right before the lockdowns happened, she was headed into her apartment, and a little kitten walked in with her, literally walked in with her. And now that cat is her cat, and the cat is amazing. Okay. She had to get through some things, like the cat had a little behavioral stuff, like from probably trauma or something, where maybe she's a little bit of a hypochondriac cat. I don't know if you know what I'm talking about, but cats can be that way too. She was kind of faking some illnesses and not eating, and my daughter had to take her to the vet during the time when you had to drop them at the curb and all this crazy. You couldn't go into the vet with your pet. And by the way, I'm very salty about stuff like that, where your pets were left by themselves with a vet, and you know how afraid a pet is. And especially if any pets had to be put down around that time, I really resent the fact that the pet owners were not able to be in there with their pets for their final minutes. That is a disgrace, what they have done to humanity. And they will pay for these things because it affected so many. Okay. Justin says, I kind of don't like cats. Smelly, messy, and annoying. Wow. That means you have not really gotten to know a cat, really, Justin. Maybe that's what it is. Maybe when you get to know the right cat, because they're not all the same, but pretty much they are clean. They are like the cleanest animals. They're always like I can pet Josephine sometimes and she'll clean like herself like as if I'm dirty, okay? So that's how clean they are and they don't smell. Like they literally do not smell like musty like dogs do. They are just different. But yeah, maybe maybe you can try to be around a cat. Like you would love Josephine, Justin, and you would love our cat. Our We have cats in the family, okay? So we have a cat in the family named Tyrone, and he's so gorgeous that everyone that hates cats, when they meet Tyrone, they're like, "Oh my god, I hate cats, but I love Tyrone." So I promise you, you would love either Josephine or Tyrone if you met them. But yeah, so Josephine went with me to New York City. She was with me while I was on the front lines of the cocoa pandemic. And that's when everybody was just afraid of their shadow. Okay. Fear was at an all time high in New York City. It was a weird thing. I could walk around the streets by myself. I literally walked in the most busy areas at times in 2020 when no cars, nothing were coming down the street. I was literally like in the middle of streets in New York. I documented a lot of it. I haven't shared a lot of the stuff that I documented for my time in New York City, but Josephine was right there with me. Okay. We lived in two hotels. I was in Times Square when I first got there. And then I took another assignment over on Long Island. Yes. So I was on Long Island for part of it. I was like all over. I was even working in Staten Island for just a day. So I took the Staten Island ferry and did the whole thing. I took buses. I would be the only person on a bus. And I would post it on Facebook and people would say, "Oh my God, Jennifer, where is your mask?" And I'm like, what is wrong with people? There's nobody on the bus but me. I'm the only Jawn on the bus, and that's the first thing you're going to ask me is why I don't have a mask on? OMG. Okay? I won't be flipping out, but I'm just saying, people made me so, I couldn't believe it because I wasn't afraid. Okay? I was not afraid. And like Josephine and I, we set up camp. We lived in our little we had nice hotel rooms. I asked my agency, I want a full kitchen because I'm not gonna, I don't know what's going on up here with getting food, but I had my little kitchen and I hit the ground in New York. I knew how to move, because I had lived in New York for a little while. So I lived in Harlem when I worked at Barnard College. So I knew how to move. I was like, okay, you hit the ground in New York and you got to be a New Yorker. You got to get in your New York mindset. So I had to get groceries because I'm cooking. Okay. I'm not going to be eating all this other wild stuff. I don't know what's going on up here. So I went to the bodega, baby. I got me some fresh, vegetables and fruit, and I had to go find a cat litter box. Can you imagine? I'm all over New York trying to find cat litter box for Josephine. I'm in the hardware stores because let me tell you something, they have the best hardware stores. Okay, don't you love hardware stores? Hardware stores are really Americana because from in Philly, we have some of the best hardware stores, like not as good as New York City, of course, but we have one up in Chestnut Hill that is like going in a time machine because hardware stores are what we should have come back in America. Okay. Not chain hardware stores, but I don't know. I'm trying to go back to a time maybe. So give me a minute. Sometimes I trip and I start, remembering, there aren't many in Philly, Mrs. Harris says, as it used to be. I know because of Ace Hardware and Home Depot and Lowe's. That's why we don't have hardware stores. And I resent that kind of stuff because I love local hardware stores. Yes, Amy, you agree. Local, because you know what? Local hardware stores, I used to travel around because my dad is, the kind of men that came through in my dad's age and older. I was talking about this on the radio steam, is that they knew machines, they know mechanics. Okay, that's a given. Do these kids know mechanics these days? I mean, I have a brother, one of my little brothers, he used to take everything apart. You leave him alone for a minute, he done taken everything apart in your house. Okay, and he took it apart carefully, maybe sometimes, allegedly, but he would be putting it back together. I know that. And that's how a lot of boys were raised, in these prior eras, so my dad, it's a natural thing. He's a chemist, he's Mensa genius also. So geniuses, they move different, so having a father who is a genius is quite an adventure, I'll say. So yeah, um the hardware stores, like, because he one day had pipes freeze and burst in his home. He had gone away, in like in Atlanta, they have, like, these cold snaps, so it can get pretty cold and icy in Atlanta. So he had gone somewhere, maybe like taking a quick weekend trip to Florida or something, and when he came back, his pipes were like bust and everything. So it was a weird time, maybe holiday time. So it was, the plumbers were charging they could take any price and tell you at that time in the holiday season, if something goes wrong with your plumbing, who you gonna call? Tyrone? Who you gonna call? You gonna call somebody. If Tyrone is a plumber, you're calling him. And guess what? Whatever Tyrone says, you're gonna pay, baby, you're gonna pay it, right? Who has ever had a plumbing emergency? That will humble you. Oh yeah. If you've ever had one of those situations where you're what is that thing that comes through? Oh, why am I forgetting? You know what I'm saying? And it gets, the people that have that thing, the sump pumps and all that stuff. I had a sump pump and all that kind of stuff up in Philadelphia. I learned a lot, but I'm my dad's only child, okay? So for me to be a daughter, he took me learning all this stuff. So I'm like really a Jacqueline of all trades in a sense, And then the fact that he's a Mensa genius, okay? So imagine me palling around with this guy, okay, all day. So yeah, we used to go to all the hardware stores. He had them all mapped out in Atlanta, all the really good Ace hardware stores, and then if there were any local schmokel stores. And I'm talking about like the 1970s, y'all, Atlanta, not this new Atlanta that I loathe. I loathe the new Atlanta. It is a cesspool, an absolute cesspool. So I'm talking 1970s, get into that Atlanta, 1980s, I'll even say, because Atlanta went into the complete toilet right after the 1996 Olympic Games. Let the games begin, because it's clown world up there. So, yeah, I said it. I don't care if you guys don't like it. Listening in from Atlanta, I can say whatever I want. And Atlanta is a cesspool. I remember it in the 1970s. So that's the reference point I'm using. Okay, thank you very much. So, yeah. So we would go around to the hardware stores, and my dad basically, this is going back when he had the pipes burst, uh he had to figure this out. So he went to a hardware store, And the guy encouraged him. He was like, you don't have to call a plumber for this. Actually, I could explain it to you. And because my dad is Mensa, all he does is like, he's always with paper, and he draws mechanical, like he's always drawing out stuff. So the man in the hardware store explained to my father how to fix his own pipes. So my dad like sketched it all out, went home, fixed them. He fixed his problem. He went back later to thank the guy for encouraging him, because a lot of times you can do a lot of things you have no idea that you can do. Okay, we can do a lot of things that we think we can't do. But we think it because we put those limitations on ourselves. And a lot of stuff is really easy. And that's why we have to wake up to things like that, because when we realize we can do more, then we take away the power from these conglomerates that have killed the innovative qualities of Main Street, of mom and pop, industry, cottage industries, industry right out of your home, your garage, your workshop. We need that again. We need men tinkering with mechanics. So my father fixed his plumbing emergency, returned back to thank the man. And you know what the man said? You know what? We get so many requests for simple plumbing, and it overwhelms the plumbers. Like, do you hear what I'm saying? For people that are pushing young people to go to college, I wish I had not gone to college. What a waste of time and money for me. I didn't even push my daughter after a while. I was like, because I was from that whole push your kid, like almost like a tiger mom, a panther mom, where you're pushing your kid. And I sent her to all these expensive private schools. And I then stopped pushing when I realized, when I was waking up slowly to it, I was waking up very slowly to the programming. And education is a complete cesspool. It is nothing but indoctrination centers. I have educators in my family. They hate me, I'm sure, because they want to uphold the lies. I am not that way. I will expose my profession, your profession, anybody's profession. I am not loyal to a profession. So I've aired out my profession, and I don't care who gets offended when I talk about the educational system. Are you kidding me? So going to college, are you serious? To do what now in clown world? So what are our young people going to do? Hey, guess what? Pipes are breaking all the time. You got plumbing emergencies. Like what my dad learned is that the man told him that it's too much work out there, not enough plumbers. The plumbers are basically, they can work at their leisure. This is a great profession. And people have the nerve to look down on a profession like a plumber. And let yourself have a plumbing emergency, and let's see how you look down on a plumber. Let us see you have a plumbing emergency around the holidays, and let's see how you look down on a plumber. Because I know those kind of people, the bougie people that look down on others. They're starting to catch a lot of interesting, I'll say, flashback from all of that. It's a lot of humble pie being served right now out of the hot kitchen. The kitchen is hot in here, isn't it? And sometimes it's too hot for people. And you could read into that what you whatever you think. It's getting too hot in the kitchen and people are fearing the heat. And I'm saying, bring it on, bring the heat. Bring the heat, creator. Heat this place up and cleanse it. I can take the heat because the creator moved on me to plant trees. And I have a tree right now that I sit under, a fig tree. Now you tell me that that is not biblical. I am getting shade under a fig tree that I planted as a little, why do I always forget? What's a baby tree again? Y'all are going to say, Jennifer, you and that bliss stick. It's not the bliss stick. It's, I don't know. Why do I keep, can someone put a baby tree in the chatmosphere? I forgot it again. But it's biblical, right, Donna? It's biblical. I'm sitting under this shade sapling. Thank you, Molly. Molly, why do I keep doing it? Do you have any answer for why I keep forgetting sapling? Thank you. It's biblical. Yeah, Amy said, let's start a hemp farm. Hemp will make almost everything. I am so right there. Hemp is going to, hemp will save America a lot. Well, of course, God, the creator. But you know what? This hemp will save a lot of stuff, okay? He made that plant for a reason. That's why the people do what they do to control it and outlaw the growing of it. And everybody thinks it's just for recreational. No, 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 no. This is a total medicinal. This is an industry in itself. We're talking clothing, okay? You could put your babies in something that is so organic. I've felt hemp clothing for babies and it was softer than cotton. There is hemp plastics for all of the people that want to holler about the environment. And then I open up my computer and see Taylor. What is this chick's name? Taylor. What's the singer? Taylor, whatever. She has cats too, but Taylor Swift. Taylor Swift is on the hot seat right now because she's one of the most abusive celebrities when it comes to private air travel. She abuses the private jet travel, and that is starting to come to the surface. And the normies, as they call them, the people that believe CNN, they're starting to see the hypocrisy with that class of elite people, that they will tell you that you're doing this to harm the environment, but yet they're flying a bowl of soup across the country because that's what he wanted. I wanted the soup out of New York, the deli. So I'm going to put it on a private jet to fly it to Los Angeles. Oh, yeah, they do stuff like that. They do stuff like that. And, it's starting to show its ugly face. And someone like Taylor Swift, she's going to be humbled. All of these elite, disgusting people doing this at a time like this, they will not be able to do it because the people are waking up to it and they're not going to support these people anymore. And these people literally live on attention. So yeah, hemp will save, like in terms of manufacturing for the strength of America, to bring it back. Hemp will literally clean the soil that we have torn apart. If we grew food the way that God has told us to, a la back to Eden, I've told you all, if you want to watch one of the most powerful documentaries, I highly recommend Back to Eden and the concept of permaculture growing, where you are not turning over the soil. You are not disrupting the soil. You are letting that whole biosphere, you are letting it be the way God has it. And you are covering the soil. You're putting a covering on it, not taking the cover off. So all that rich layer of soil and add, addition, like, the wood chips and things, it becomes such a rich environment that you don't have to water your gardens hardly. If we were a society that was one that honored the supreme law of the Creator, the 10 Commandments, we would have rain in our seasons. We would have abundant crops. We would have bumper crops. We would be blessed when it comes to our land. We have been disobedient, and I don't care who it offends. This is the thing for religious, what is haughtiness? For any religious haughtiness, all a person has to do is pull out the 10 Commandments. Just pull them out. I read them a few videos ago. Just pull out the 10 Commandments and read them to yourself. You don't have to read them out loud. Just read them. No amendments. It's just real straightforward. Read the 10 Commandments. And this is just an exercise that we can do with ourselves, okay? We can self-police and self-govern. You read those 10 Commandments and just score yourself honestly as to how you show up in terms of, do you follow the supreme law of the Creator? Do you follow it? Nobody has to know but you. That's your business. So if you break one of them, this is why they don't want us talking about the 10 Commandments, because it is so humbling. If you break one of those laws, it's like you broke all of them. You might as well say, let me go for Casino Royale and do it all, because that's how it is. When any one of those laws are broken, it means that you are a lawbreaker according to the supreme authority. And he does not allow debating. There's no debate. It was in stone for a reason. No debate and no amending it. No amendments, okay? All those amendments have enslaved us. They have tied us in knots with amendments. Amendments are chicanery. Amendments are shenanigans. There's no amendment to the supreme law of the Creator. He doesn't care what you think. He doesn't care that your groups have taken those 10 Commandments down from the courthouses and the schools. He knew how that would turn out. Dr. Phil would just sit there and say, so how did that turn out for you? Taking the 10 Commandments off of the walls of the schools. Now you got people walking in there with pow-pows. Now you got to go through pow-pow detectors. Oh, but don't put the 10 Commandments up. That's a real offense. When that becomes an offense to a society and culture, you know what? That's when your crops are going to turn up busted. That's when enemies are going to enter the gates and buy your land. That's when the blood of all the babies that were nothing but choices, all your choices, all that bloodshed. How are you going to clean it? Hemp won't clean that now. Hemp won't clean that. That's spiritual. I'm just talking. Hemp is of the natural world. When I make let's be real clear, because I'm becoming real down to earth right now. I got my shoes off. I'm about to start raking through my hair and doing it back in my Black Princess Leia buns, my Negrescence Princess Leia buns, right out here in the sun. Because I'm going to move away from my shady fig tree. Because I like to be in the sun so the oils can soak into my scalp. So I'm becoming way down to earth right now. So when I say things like hemp will save America, I don't mean that in a spiritual sense, because the hemp cannot save America. Hemp can do a lot of good in the natural realm for the soil. So I just want to make that real distinction so people know that I do not put anyone above the supreme authority of the Creator. That's who I am. I am beholding to. I don't ascribe to anything else. I'm about law and order right now. And I thank Kevin Gills out in Los Angeles for waking me up to that. Press 1. That's right, press 1. I haven't been listening to Kevin in a while because I've been doing a lot of like studying and testing. So I've been missing out on Kevin Gills. But Kevin Gills has done a lot to wake me up. But the thing is that we have a lot of humbling in this country of America. We will be humbled. All the haughtiness, all the going and running to and fro as if everything is normal again. Those are NPCs right there who think everything is back to business again. What kind of business? Dragon business? Demon business? Yeah, okay. You could get back to that business. But guess what? There's coming a reckoning and a humbling, because America ain't humble. America ain't humble to the crimes committed and the breaking of the supreme law of the Creator, who was the one who initially blessed this land to be an experiment. And if we had been obedient to his 10 commandments, we wouldn't have Jojo Magoo sitting as the leader of the free world. That big, I'm going to try to be nice right now. Jojo Magoo is our judgment. And if you don't like it, if you have religious haughtiness, I don't care. I don't care about all that pie in the sky stuff y'all want to talk about. America needs a day of reckoning. And Jojo Magoo as the president was one sign of it. If you're not paying attention, running around like things are back to normal, and you got this guy as the face, he's the CEO of the company you work at. Are you kidding? If this dude, when I worked in Big Pharma, if Jojo Magoo was the CEO, oh my goodness. First of all, I'd be looking quick for another gig, okay? I wouldn't be working under nothing like that. Nothing like that. Are you kidding? Sitting around here acting like things are back to normal. I see you guys. No humbling going on. You know what? I was listening to somebody, I was shocked because this person knows about all the Epstein Island stuff. They know about adrenochrome. They know about all that stuff. But yet they declared fear of monkeypox and they are demanding to take another jab. I literally heard people say that they want to take a monkeypox jab. They're looking for it, baby. They're looking for it. When is CVS going to have the monkeypox juice? And when I tell you, I was so shocked. You know what? That's why I don't want to be out with, because that's the thing. This is a hybrid of some sort. I can't figure it out. They know about Epstein Island, adrenochrome, but at the same time, they said they're afraid of monkeypox and they want the jab. How, you know what? How can I make sense of that? So that's what I'm saying. I'm like, wait a minute, wait a minute, wait a minute. It turns out that the only people I could really like rock with are y'all, my mom, the cat, my daughter, it ain't a lot. I'm just saying, I don't know. People are really tricky. Tricky. It is so tricky. So I'm just saying that people are already looking for the monkey juice. They're looking for some monkey juice to get you. Put it in my arm. Put it in my arm, Fauci. And where the hell is Fauci? That's the thing I don't understand. Like, just now, you guys. Oh, they're showing out in the sanctuary. A bumblebee just flew up to me out of nowhere, came out of nowhere, flew over my book and right by me. They show out. They show out with me. All of my pollinators. I love my bees, and it's all these butterflies. They're all around. And I don't know what because I didn't plant any milk thistle. Anybody know the other, like right off the top of their head, what are the other plants that the butterflies like? Because they must like something that I planted out here. They're hanging around near the jasmine vines. Do they like yeah, I guess they do. Yeah, they like duh. Okay, so my pollinators show off. The birds show off for me. But yeah, that bumblebee just came out of, oh, I've had lots of bumblebees like show off, but I haven't seen one this season like I just saw, like that appearance. And it was nice and chunky, little chunky bee. So yeah, I love when they fly by me so I can hear the vibration. And also the other ones, I don't know about cicadas, but they show out up in here. Sometimes the cicadas, they get to talking all at one time, and like they're all on one accord. And it sounds so loud. It sounds a little menacing. I have to be honest, just a tad bit menacing. Okay. So, tell me, are cicadas good or bad? But milkweed, oh my God, Cat's Corner. Listen, everybody, you got to give Cat's Corner a real, like, welcome back, sis. Welcome back. Give our sister some love. Cat's Corner. Oh my God, I love you. I haven't seen you in so long. Was it something I said? I missed you. Anyway, it's so nice to see you. But yeah, so anyway, I was at the point where I was saying about plumbers, okay? So yeah, looking down on plumbers, stupid, stupid, stupid. So humbling happens. That's one way to get humbled. So my dad ended up doing little side hustle jobs as like a plumber and stuff, because the guy in the hardware store said, it's so many people that need jobs. And like when people learn how to do this stuff, they're needed. And you could literally do little jobs and make money. And so he would do that. It keeps it when someone is a genius, they have to keep all cylinders of their brain engaged. If they don't, I don't know, maybe they become like evil genius. Oh, what, I just figured it out. Now I know the thin line between the evil genius. Did I just come up? Is that why? Is Bill Gates a genius? First of all, I don't know. He could be dumb as a box of rocks, but they always sell him as a genius. Is he a genius? I mean, aside from him being evil, give him the credit if he really is. I don't know, because when I hear him on interviews, he sounds so stupid to me. But that's just me. And I'm kind of funny, but he sounds dumber than he sounds like Dumb and Dumber to me. But they say he's a genius. Is he? Can someone fact check? Is Bill Gates a genius? He's pretty stupid, you said. So Angela is not impressed with his intellect. He's he's dumb as poop. So they told us that he is supposed to be a freaking genius, okay? But he dropped out of college and supposedly did the whole thing in his garage. Was that him or the other guy? I don't know. Apple, wasn't that Apple? I think all their stories are made up. They come out of whatever farm, right? Whatever farm they come off, not the kind of farm I'm rocking with, but they come off of a farm and then they give them a Genesis story. And it's always something like a rags to riches. Oh, he was living in a van by the river and, he was couch surfing. He was living in his car. He was, all this other stuff. He was living in a tree. He was, whatever, in the doghouse. And really, he was farm raised right off the farm. He had lived, another life under another identity. He's maybe a Rothschild or something. And yeah, they just push him out there with the Genesis story. So I don't know if the guy's smart, but all I know is when you are dealing with Mensa level people, they need to have their hands not only in the right brain things, but the left brain too, because real intelligence is what is the word? A synthesis between the left and right hemispheres of your brain. So you can't be just one-sided. It's got to be balanced out. So if you have one of these prodigy children, if you when you have a prodigy child, you don't need anybody to tell you, because they kind of come out and blow your mind. Okay, so when you have those kind of children, you have to engage them in creativity as well, not just book stuff. Well, yeah, book stuff, but I'm saying they have to be, creative. And it's nothing better than them being creative outdoors, building their own fort out of a refrigerator box, uh, letting them play, make mud pies and play in the dirt. And that increases the immunity, so we have stronger children. There are reports right now that the younger generations are very weak in a lot of ways that you can quantify and qualify. They are weaker than older generations, and it's not hard. You don't have to be like a big brain rocket scientist to science. You don't have to be Dr. Fauci to figure it out, that the softening of children. Oh my God, you got to put a pad on your elbow and your toe and your ear. You got to put a special pad on your nose. And I mean, you're in bubble shrink wrap before it's over. And you never had a scrape on your knee that you can talk about. Like, you can tell, I'm looking at my knees right now. That's right. They're faded, but I can see them. I can see the thing I got when I thought I could ride a bike down, what was that hill in Mount Airy, in West Mount Airy. I thought I could ride my bike down that hill, okay? Like other kids, maybe bigger kids, were doing. And you know what it's like when you took on a little bit more than you should have when you were a kid. When you were a kid in my kind of childhood generation, where you spent hours riding your bicycle, okay? So I tried to ride my bicycle down y'all know, any Philly Johns, right near Lincoln Drive, like, I'm trying to remember the street, okay? Near Carpenter. And anyway, I'll think of it, okay? So it's a really, really steep hill. And I went down that hill and I panicked for a minute and I hit the brakes, okay? Anybody who's good with physics, can you tell me what happened? Okay, let me explain the scenario. I am on my bicycle and I was not at a level to do this because it takes levels, but I always think I could do stuff. So I'm riding down a steep hill, and midway through, I kind of panicked that I didn't think this through. Like, what happens when I get to the bottom of the hill? Will there be a car or two coming down those streets that I'm going to cross? So when that thought came into my mind that I'm going faster, that was a really fast start. Wow, I didn't know I would take off like that. And then I go brake. I hit the brakes. What happened? Inertia. Hey, T. Witten. Cornelia catapulted. Yes, I flipped over. I went tumbling over my bicycle handlebars. Oh, my angels, I really have worked them out, okay? I have some tough angels. You know what? I got to give them a shout out. I know you're out here in the sanctuary with me. They're over here shaking their heads. They're like, oh, okay. You know the emoji where you do the face palm? That's what my angels are doing right now. They're like, oh, gosh, when is this assignment over? Ah, you've done that, Donna? That is a one and done dumb thing to do. It's only one time. You don't need to learn that lesson again. No review. No, 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 no. We're not going back there. That was a one and done. I was lucky. I was not lucky. I'm sorry, I'm sorry, Lord. I don't believe in luck. I know it's not I know it's not good. I was blessed. You blessed me. You got my angels. I know you're tired. I know you need a vacation. They need to go away. No, don't go away. Don't go away. Please stay right here. I'm only kidding. We need to go on a vacation, okay? We need a vacation. I have not been on one in so long. I don't know what it feels like. Oh my God. So anyway, where was I? Okay, so yeah, my dad is like, he's doing his side hustles because men like him, yeah, they work for the government. They're a chemist for the, you know, agriculture department and all that. They got their real government job, but then they got their side hustles, and their side hustles aren't drugs and all that. They're doing what now he just picked up a plumbing gig. Now he could go. He was rolling for a while when he loved it. It was something new, and it was like, woo! Me being an only child. Are you kidding? I could go to Lenox Mall and get me some things because he got himself a nice little side money from a side hustle. Got some extra coins, some play money. You know what I'm saying? You know, when your dad had that play money where it's like, what do you want? What do you want? And you're the only child. What do you want? And if anybody says I'm spoiled, I have the spoon out here. If anybody accuses me of being a brat, you better not. But no, I'm just saying, like, play money when your dad has play money back in the 80s. Okay. Can you go back? Do you see why this radio thing is so much fun? Because I'm thinking of all these times when my dad had play money. Like, he didn't care. It was like any dumb thing I wanted. It was like, yeah, let's do it. Yeah. Oh, you want a lion? You want to pet a baby cub lion to hang out for the weekend? Oh, no problem. He goes and talks to the circus had been in town. And, you know, I'm just thinking he was a young father, so he was just doing crazy things for me. Okay. So he was in his 20s, right? I guess around this time. It's really wild to think about that. So I loved, I love cats. Okay. I got Josephine out here. I love I've always loved lions and all, just the animal kingdom. I just always loved it. Like, I'm Ellie Mae. I always related to Ellie Mae from the Beverly Hillbillies. So, my dad went and talked to somebody at the circus. Okay. I know this sounds crazy because it is. This is in the 70s. We're living in Virginia Highlands. like a bungalow, like a craft bungalow, kind of really cool house. And and I'm down for the summer because my parents were divorced, and I would come and visit my dad and his wife. He had married a Jewish woman, so they were the interracials. So I was a interracial family, and yeah, so my dad, because when you're in a broken home and you only see your dad a little bit, like I think that puts a lot of pressure on your dad. Like they have to do extra, like, we're going to Disney World every day, we're going to Disney, we're going to this. So I'd be like always on the road doing all this stuff, underground Atlanta, anything you want, all this stuff, you know what I'm saying? So I think they have to feel like they have to give you a lot, and make up for the, I guess, that they're not around a lot, you know what I'm saying? So fathers out there, you might know what I'm talking about. It's just like a little pressure maybe on you to like overdo it with your child when you only see them like on weekends or holidays or summers and stuff. So yeah, they were swirling. That was and I grew up with a swirling, in a swirling mixed family. So I can, when I talk about racial stuff, it's from a real place of knowing. Trust me, okay? I'm not triggered. Don't be triggered, okay? Because I come from a rainbow assortment. So everybody can get that smoke, in other words. So yeah, but he went to the circus, and he's a very charismatic person. Like if he had wanted to have a religion, he could have totally gone like Jim Jones. I'm just saying, like, he's Mensa and charismatic and tall, basketball player. Like, are you getting where I'm going? And so, a nice dresser, it's real clean, like cologne and the whole thing. My friends used to have crushes on my dad. It was so cringy and awkward when a friend would say, "Oh my God, your dad is so handsome." I would be like, "Okay, you are on thin ice with me. Like, don't say things like that. Okay, please." And then he loved it because when we were out in public, me and my dad, like all around Atlanta in the 70s, everyone would say that they thought he was my brother. A lot of people would say that. They thought he was my brother. And a lot, like, especially when I was like a teenager, they thought my dad was my brother. So that's how young he used to look. And he stayed like really young, looking for so long. But he ate that up. He loved it when people thought he was my brother. And I would be like rolling my eyes so hard. Okay. Yes, over the line and super creepy and cringy. You know, one friend even said she threatened me. That's when you're with a treacherous Jawn. You gotta know how treacherous your friends are, the real close ones, because it's like kind of like that intrigue that goes on when you watch those movies. Like you have certain people around you that you need to know, how far will this person go? What is their moral compass? So one of my friends said, "Oh, that would be so much fun if I became your stepmother." I was like, "Oh, yes, that's it. I am going to put you on, you're going to fade out of my life. I'm going to do it real smooth. You're just going to fade away. You're going to float on, float on." Because, she was acting all like flirty with my dad and stuff. Not that my dad would do anything, but I'm just saying, sometimes, it's been like a little bit of Lolita kind of stuff. I'm just saying, in some cases, we got to be kind of balanced and fair when we look at stuff, but then you got to look at what's her deal, like what's her background? Why is she so loose and stuff, right? Why is she so fresh? As the older women would say, why is she so fresh and fast? Why is she so fast? Remember the old women used to say stuff like that? That's a fast one right there. They would say that. They could identify things. But then, I think that I'm not going to get off onto a tangent, but Anyway, I'm just saying it was interesting. My dad convinced somebody at the circus, because it was like Barnum and Bailey. Remember Barnum and Bailey circus was in town, and he went down there somewhere and talked to somebody, and he got them to agree to let him take one of the lion cubs for the day, for a whole day. Can you imagine? I don't know what he said. Can you imagine? Can you like imagine, like, if you could figure out what he might have said to them to allow him to take a baby lion cub. This is in the 70s, okay? So he brought the baby lion cub home one day to surprise me, and it was outside. He didn't bring it in the house, but the lion was out on a leash. I'm sorry, it was on a leash kind of thing, and he had it tethered somehow so it couldn't run away, like it was out in the backyard. And because we didn't have enclosures for like an outdoor pet at our home, we had indoor cats and stuff, so we didn't have like an enclosed backyard. So it was like a nice long tether, but I spent almost the whole time, it felt like, outside with this baby lion cub. And it was just craziness like that. That's how I grew up, like having a dad like that. So I could like literally tell you story after story that you would be like, you're lying, Jennifer. You're totally lying. That's why I don't talk about this stuff, because it's like literally so over the top that even I sometimes have to say, did that really happen? Like, really, am I tripping? Do you hear the cicadas out here? Did anybody tell me, are they friend or foe? I've never seen one. I think I've never seen one. What do they look like? Are they ugly cicadas? So anyway, back to like, I'm talking about plumbing and I'm getting around to this. Okay, so the strength of America and the weaknesses that are now apparent with the younger generations, and this is no fault of theirs. This falls at the footsteps of my generation, Gen X. This is our fault. This is definitely the boomers' fault. And I know that boomers get really like triggered and go, don't blame us. You guys are always blaming us boomers. But the boomers have to take their share of the responsibility. And I'm not going to get into a boomer fight. Listen, boomers, don't come for me. I haven't sent for you. I'm just saying that I'm taking responsibility for the part that the Gen X took in this weakening of these generations coming up now. And the reason we have JoJo Magoo as the head guy, and we have to hear about him being sick. And I did a nursing care plan on him, and everybody agreed he should be in a nursing home. That would be the most humane thing to do to him. And you know what? I'm telling you, Dr. Jill was heckled recently on the streets. She was running into some event, and you may have seen it. Salty covered it, and probably Paul Romano. Those are my guys. Those are my friends in my head, Paul and Salty. So Dr. Jill got heckled by a guy. It looked like it was New York. Was it in New York? Because it had that, like, that's the New Yorker that I want to come back. Like, where y'all at? Pop out. Wherever this was, whatever city, this was the most based person, because they didn't care that she had all that security around her. He still said what he said. Okay. And he told her that her husband was destroying the country, and that she and him owed this man money for the gas crisis. And she said, "Oh, thank you very much. Oh, appreciate it." That just shows you the level of phoniness that you have to be at to even be the wife of a president, like the fakeness, that you're going to say, "Oh, thank you very much." That's so like Stepford wife to respond that way. But anyway, it was absolutely an amazing moment that was caught. And they didn't expect it. It was truly serendipitous. It was so awesome and sublime. Okay. So she runs in, and they caught one of the Secret Service. He was laughing too. So, but I'm thinking, who are these people? Because I'm not in the circles of people that are in the seats of power, but I'm just thinking, what the hell are y'all doing? You literally, like, I don't know if I could be a Secret Service for those two. Like, I don't like, what kind of people work around these. I don't know. I'm just thinking out loud. It would be hard for me to play along with this when I know that this is not a little thing that's happening to our country and to our world. This is a big deal. People are out here, you know, things are not good for everyone. The mental health of this nation right now is at an all-time low. And it's like, before this stuff happened, we didn't have enough people to take care of people. If you had a mental health crisis and you needed help right now, you try reaching out, they're going to tell you, oh, I can fit you in 2 weeks. And you're like, 2 weeks? I'm having a crisis now. Well, go to the emergency room if you don't feel safe with yourself. Everything is real, like cookie cutout. There's no care in healthcare. And so we're dealing with a broken system. We're dealing with people that are now coming into the profession of nursing who are complete trash. The profession is complete trash. The nurses that are coming in, trust me, I have been around them. I have heard them. I have observed their skill set and levels. They are trash. And I don't care who I offend. The field of nursing has gone to the dogs, and that is no offense to dogs. And it's going to take good nurses who want to stay in that. Listen, y'all done it to me. I'm out. I'm doing deuces. I threw the deuces up. I don't care if y'all have a monkeypox epidemic extravaganza. Don't call me. Don't call me. I'm not coming to New York for that bullshit. I'm not coming nowhere. I won't be on a bus, on a train, or a plane with a fox in a box. Nowhere near your next pandemic. Y'all burned the bridge for me. You burned the bridge. Y'all got that all, but take it on. New nurses. If you could see the attitudes and hear the nastiness of these new nurses, they are all there for money now. It's all about money. That's all it's about now. And I said it. It's about money. And stay out of these filthy ass hospitals. They're so dirty. I could tell you stories. They are filthy. I have cleaned many of them. Yes, I did a little cleaning around the nursing station at least. You almost have to become the damn housekeeping. Because they now, what do? They outsource it now. They used to have 24-hour housekeeping. And don't get me onto that, because coming from a mother like I do that believes that everything can be solved with a hot bath. I grew up like that. That's the answer for everything, is take a hot bath. So yeah, I'm just saying, they are filthy places. The quality, I have watched the quality of healthcare go into the absolute dumps. I could document it for you. I have taken pictures. I have them right now in the cloud of trash cans. They are like fountains of trash spewing up. Trash all around the trash cans, surrounding it. in an aura of trash in the break room, on the floor. You know, so stay out of those places, because I know a lot of people, they like to be in hospitals because that's the only time they get attention, is when they're in the hospital. And those kind of people really annoyed me. That was one of the challenges of, it's a good thing that they burned bridges with me, because I couldn't keep my peace anymore. I say stuff, and I've always been the one that shocks everybody, because I don't care. I'm not going to hold my tongue. When the CEO comes by on the floor and everybody's kissing their butt and trying to act like they're working real hard. Oh, because the CEO just made a stop on the floor. I don't care. And they're like, because I'm always like the new nurse somewhere, or the travel nurse or whatever. But I was a staff nurse but it doesn't matter. I have the same energy for whatever situation it is, where everybody starts behaving differently because the CEO is on the floor. Let me, make an impression, No, I act the same all the time. If the CEO is around, or if the housekeeper is around, I'm going to be who I am. So there was a time when they were working us so short of staff, just overworking us. And it was just very, very bad. It was a lot of falls, it's a lot of people falling in these hospitals, and the rate of falls is at an all-time high. And falls are deadly. They are deadly to the elderly. And I can tell you, I could do a whole live stream on the fall situation in hospitals. So when they don't have adequate staffing, and your older mom is needing to go to the bathroom, but the nurse just had an infiltrated IV that now has to restart an IV because couldn't save the vein, couldn't, because that IV, it was already past the time where I know they're changing that anyway. I don't want to get into all that and all that. But, you're starting a new IV, so you got to be careful. You got to take your time. It might not be an easy person because there's so many obese people. And if you're a nurse and you know what I'm talking about, it's really hard to stick an obese arm and find a vein. And I'm not trying to fat shame you. I'm just trying to say that there is a problem of obesity in America. And when you point it out, you're the bad person for doing it. You get tired of seeing it because you see the ravaging bodies and the declining health of your nation. But when you talk about it, you're the bad guy. So when I'm trying to start another IV, or, any nurse has to do it, and what? They have short-staffed the nurses. Maybe one of your nurse friends got sick or just overwhelmed and wants to go home because you're working with people that don't have a good work ethic. They could break a nail and decide they want to leave in the middle of a shift. And you know what? You can't even blame them anymore. That's how the morale has gotten to the point of, I'm like, yeah, they probably just need a freaking mental health break. But that means you're going to have to now take their patients. Their patients are now going to be divvied up between all the nurses. And so you are already short. And then there's nobody, there's no tech, there's no nursing assistant because they don't hire them. They can't hire them. And they can, in one hospital, one community, it must have been a 420 community. I was like, why can't y'all get enough staff up in here? And they said, well, they can't pass the marijuana test. And, by the way, that was before I was an advocate for CBD and everything. And, 420, I'm all for it. I used to be very anti 420. Growing up as a church girl and then being a church lady, you're very anti 420. So, they're telling me that they can't get enough staff to work as nursing assistants because they can't pass the marijuana test. That sounds really stupid. Because I had asked somebody like in HR about that, and they just kind of told me like off the cuff that people are not passing the marijuana test. So I'm like, That would tell me maybe you need to stop testing for marijuana, you dum-dums. Because, I had to look into that and it didn't make sense from a logical standpoint. Like, okay, you're going to test for marijuana that stays in a person's system for 30 days and it will stay in longer according to their adipose tissue, their fat tissue. So it is fat. You guys know, teach them in the chatmosphere. How long does weed last in your system if you're going to be tested? So the thing is, a person could have just taken a bump off of something white, or they could have had a rock and smoked over the weekend with somebody, with Hunter Biden. They could have been hanging out every weekend with Hunter Biden, right? And doing fentanyl and doing crack with Hunter, and come back on Monday like they're a functional crackhead. Like Hunter, I guess he's a functional crackhead, right? Because he does all these, he's like, look at his resume. Like he's the highest functioning crackhead ever in the history of crackheaddom, because he is even creative. He is an artist that sells his artwork, and he runs energy companies over in the Ukraine. So he is he's a high functioning crackhead. But I'm just saying, like, they are testing people for a drug. It's not a drug. And that's where I have to stop myself too. 420 is not a drug. It is a plant, obviously. So are drugs plants and plants drugs? Like, we have to get the language together. What are we talking about? Because everybody is not using the same language. So it's clearly is not a drug. It is a plant. And if you even took anybody of a lower IQ, or if you took a child and asked them, what is this? They would say maybe a tree. They might say a bush, a plant. They're not going to say anything else. They know what it is. So you will not show up hot if you did crack with Hunter over the weekend and you came to work on Monday and they wanted to, hit everybody, because at these jobs, they make it like they can do on the spot drug test. If you're acting goofy, maybe you have an odd personality. You're acting a little strange. You had an argument maybe with your spouse. You come to work, you're a little bit different. Your coworkers could kind of drop a little hint to somebody that you're kind of different, and they will want to get your urine and test it, right? So if you were doing crack with Hunter Biden over the weekend, you're going to be clean. But if you did 420 at home while you were taking a bath, that's just a ritual you have. You sit in the tub on Saturday and you do your 420 and you listen to Jenny the Jawn radio, and you're just doing your 420 in the chatmosphere. Oh no, you're in trouble. So my point is, like, you're literally letting us have a short staff because you have stupid policies that will not help others to be employed in your community, because you're weeding them out. Literally, you're weeding them out because they like a plant that you have deemed that it is nefarious. You have demonized it. And now and so now it just trickles down to stupidity in all areas. So my thing is, like, when the CEO had come up on the floor one day, and it was a woman at the time, I think, this one CEO or head of HR, whatever. I don't care about their titles. I never cared. And so she comes up with a basket of like snacks and sodas. And this is supposed to like soothe the savage nurses. And you know what? She came up to me trying to butter me up. And I looked at her, and I whatever her name was, I don't even remember her name, but I looked at her right in the face and I said, you know what? It would be nice if you took all this effort that you are doing here with these snacks and stuff that have really bad ingredients. They're not healthy for us. But it would be better if you took the effort and maybe took a part of your budget and gave more money to the nursing assistants. Okay. That would be better. And she looked at me like her face melted. Okay. And everybody, it was like, when the record player, like when they had the record and it scratched, that's what it felt like. It was a moment like the record scratched. And I was like, I don't know. I guess she might, I don't know what's going to happen. But I just told her that I wanted to stand up for the nursing assistants because they're not paying them anything and they're doing all this hard work. I don't feel guilty as a nurse making my money because I told you what I went through to become a nurse. Nobody's going to, besmirk me and all the work I had to fight, villains at Temple, all those professor villains we had to fight. Why are professors villains? Why do we have to fight them? They considered us the worst nursing class ever at Temple University. It was because we were the only ones that fought them like we did. We fought the professors, the villains. But that's I just told her that, and she looked at me and she can't get mad because I'm literally saying like it's logic. But people are afraid. I didn't say it in a rude way. I just said it would be better if all of this effort would be put into giving the nursing assistants more money. So, it was like, whoa, I can't believe you said that to her. And I'm like, she's a person. I never acted different. Like I said, I don't care. I don't care about a CEO. I've been around these people. I've taken care of them when they're at their last moments, and I've taken care of people that own sports teams and own private jets. I had a patient, he was barking at me, this mean millionaire, and he had this his private nurse that he treated like a dog, who would come in on certain hours to help out, like babysit him. So he was my patient. And he wanted to do all this crazy stuff. Like, first of all, he wanted to wear all of his fancy clothes, and he would be laying in the bed with his fancy clothes on, looking like a dum-dum. And then one day he wanted to do something, and I told him that it just wasn't, whatever it was so ridiculous. And I told him in a nice way that it was not possible. And then he started going off on me, and he said, I have a private plane, you can't tell me, or something. And I said, well, guess what? You might have a private plane, but you're laying in this hospital bed right now. And what does that mean, that you have a private plane? What does that mean to me and to this situation? And he was like, his face looked like it melted too, because what was I supposed to do? I'm just saying. But I've taken care of these people. And at the end of the day, everybody is a human being. And a lot of people are humbled at the end of their days. I've taken care of the humbled, humans, the ones that treated people like trash their whole life. And they're laying in a hospital bed now, having to reconcile these things that they did their whole life to people. They don't have cards and flowers and balloons and visitors. And, nurses have to give these people compassion in the end of their days. A lot of them are lonely because they've treated people so poorly. Yeah, Angela, what is his plane going to do for me? I had one patient, I'm going to tell you, I really fumbled the bag with this one. Let me tell y'all how I fumbled the bag with one patient. He was crazy as a loon, right? And he was telling me, when somebody starts telling you, oh, I used to own this team. It was some team in the Midwest, like a football team. He was like, yeah, I own it or whatever. And he was bragging, and he was real tall. He did so many goofy things. Like, some rooms in hospitals still have tubs in them. And he had gotten in the tub, and he didn't tell anybody he was going to do this. Okay. He got in the tub, and he was real tall. He got stuck in the tub. Can you imagine? So the time we did have help, she discovered him in the tub hollering for help. And we had to get this big man out of the tub, and he was talking smack to us the whole time. And we have to deal with that a lot. People are talking smack to you, calling you a nigga, calling you every other thing, and you have to rise above it. You really do. I've been called things, with people, patients, I've been called all kinds of stuff, but it's when the screaming billionaire. Can you imagine? I have a private plane. But wait, let me tell you how I fumbled the bag with this one patient. This was so funny. So he was telling me, this is the guy in the tub, okay? So we got his dumb self out of the tub, and I asked him, please don't do this again. This is not safe. You can fall. And he whatever. And then we were talking. I think I was fixing his IV or something, and we were talking, and he was like, you should sit down with me one day when you have a minute, as if I ever have a minute to sit down with patients. But he said, I could tell you some stock picks because I do really well with the stock market. And I was like, yeah, I did one of those, like, when you roll your eyes up, like, I'm trying to fix this IV guy. Like, stop always telling me about yourself. Okay. I know you're a big deal out of this hospital. Okay. I got it. I got it. You have a yacht. You have toys. You're a big deal. But right now, you're not a big deal right now. Okay. So then I find out later, when he was discharged, one of the nurses, she had literally sat down and taken his invitation, and he gave her some stock picks, and guess what? Sis got a nice bag. He told her something that really panned out really well. So I'm just saying, I fumbled the bag. I didn't believe that he was all that he said he was, but he really was. But anyway, I'm not a stock market person anyway. But let me get to the real reason why I wanted to go live. I didn't expect to do this, by the way. This has been really fun. Okay, one of my sisters, I won't say your name, but what you said when I did that, I talked about, it was the last live, yeah, underwater basket weaving. Okay, so I talked about being stuck in China. And she said, Jen, that story about how they had you going back and forward, spending money on tickets was wild. So when I went to China, the last time I went, I got trapped in China. Now, something wasn't right with the visa process, and I really wanted to go to Guangzhou. That was the original place I wanted to spend time. And I had a friend in Guangzhou that I was going to meet up with, actually. So, and it's a friend from Africa who lives in Guangzhou, who does business in Guangzhou, who was going to show me how to do, like, I just had an idea. I wanted just to see how it would work. And at the time, you can't do business in America. They've made it so cost prohibitive to do business here that you have to go to China to do anything. And that's the people who have sold our country out, I am really feeling a way about it, because I'm seeing the whole hustle. I'm seeing the whole thing that they did to us, the grift, the finesse that they pulled on America. So, I thought I could go to Guangzhou. That's where they have all the factories for fashion, for especially luxury fashion is manufactured in Guangzhou. So I couldn't fly out of Seattle to Guangzhou. They told me I would have to stop in Shanghai first. So this is what Seattle tells me. And I go on to Shanghai. And once I got to Shanghai and I tried to get the visa so that I could turn around, and then I had to figure out how I was going to add on another leg now that they took me into Shanghai. So I was talking to the women. Everybody speaks perfect English over in China, by the way, that work in the travel spheres and, all the tourism areas. They speak a very good English. Okay, by the way, if you, had not experienced that. So, the woman in China, or the guards or whatever they were, they look very hostile. They were friendly. Let me not say hostile, but maybe it's the attire looks very militarish. Everybody, once you get there, it looks militarish. But they're nice, okay, and they're speaking English and smiling a little bit. So she explains to me that actually, no, I can't go on to Guangzhou. I would have to go to Hong Kong. And that's when it became really confusing, even though they were speaking English. I said, why do I have to go to Hong Kong? And I didn't have Hong Kong money, first of all, because you have to have money to go to Hong Kong. I didn't have Hong Kong money. Okay. So I said, I won't be able to do that. Okay, ma'am. So what am I able to do? How can I get to Guangzhou? And she was trying to explain, and one of the things that frustrated me with people in the I'll say the travel industry is they just read from a script. And if you're asking a question, they stick to a script that they're reading from and they don't deviate from the script. So you're like, okay, it's like going around in a circle. And I just had to be settled that I was going to be staying in Shanghai instead of Guangzhou. So my plans got all the way changed. And I let my friend know about it. And, it was really disappointing because we had business planned. Okay. So then I'm now in Shanghai. And Shanghai is expensive, really expensive, because I was going to be staying with my friend at their home. Their family invited me. So that changes your whole like budgetary thing, because I was planning on getting things because one of my brothers wanted some Yeezys. Sorry, Kanye, but they got Yeezys over there that, yeah, people get them. Yeah, sorry if this gets to Kanye. Yeah. But I didn't get them, Kanye, so don't be mad at me. I didn't know nothing about the Yeezys, but my brother wanted some Yeezys. And so I couldn't get the Yeezys and all that stuff. So anyway, I was in Shanghai and I stayed at a hostel. So I stayed at this really cool hostel, and it was nice because I got to meet people, lots of people, like teachers. It was a lot of teachers because they have a lot of teachers in China. That's why they speak perfect English. Okay. So it was a lot of teachers, and it was a restaurant attached to the hostel. And I met a guy he was from Korea, and I didn't know anything about Shanghai, but he had been at the hostel for a while. And he said, why don't you, because I wanted to go around sightseeing. And he was like, I'm about to go around. You could come pal around with me. So it was just nice. I went, it was no creep factor, it was just nice. So I hung out with him and we went and had tea at a tea house. And we just walked all around Shanghai, the old city part of it. And he just showed me, he knew all of these really cool spots. And then I just ended up staying in Shanghai for my whole time. So when it was time to leave, that's when I'm wondering now, and that's where I need the Chatmosphere to help me. Okay, so when I was ready to leave, and by the way, I met a really cool Ethiopian guy, him and his brother, because when I went to the marketplace, I don't know how to negotiate. I'm not one of these people that negotiate stuff. So I was learning, like he saw me do something and he was around, and when I see Ethiopians, they say I'm, that's me. They're my people. They have claimed me. Okay. So he just knew I was, Hybatia sister. But, he heard me talking very valley girlish, I guess. So they get confused when they hear me talking. It's like, what the heck kind of Hybatia is she? Where is she from? So him and his brother, they helped me with my negotiation skills and got me some nice deals on just a couple of items. So we became friends and hung out. And he lives in Ethiopia. I have lots of friends and stuff in Ethiopia. So when it was time for me to leave, they told me I couldn't go back to America. And I'm like, from Shanghai. I was like, are you kidding? So they told me I had to fly into Beijing. So I didn't plan on it. I had to buy a ticket to Beijing on the spot because as I was trying to talk to the lady and reason with her, she had that really calm, robotic. she was just reading from a script. She kept reading that I had to get a ticket, I had to leave from Beijing, and something about the visa. She would not deviate, and she didn't have any compassion for my situation. Like she was emotionless, okay? So I just like I took one for I chalked it up and I charged it to the game and I got a ticket to Beijing. So I stayed in the same hotel that the everybody from the plane were going to get up in the morning to go to Seattle that morning. So the flight crew and everybody stayed in that hotel. So I checked in, I stayed. It looked really like I went into a time portal. It was a really nice hotel, but it looked like something from the 60s, as if it was frozen in time, like the Cold War. And it also it when we flew in, it was dark, but no, I think it was daytime. It was really gray. Like you think we have smog and pollution like in LA and stuff or any other city. That literally it was a gray overcast that I had never seen a gray like that. It was like I couldn't be happy really easily living under such a gray, like it was just everything was gray and heavy, very, very heavy it felt. And the people, I wasn't sure if I was accidentally in Russia. No, I love my Russians. It felt like I was in Russia when I was in Beijing for some reason. It was like the people, like everything changed, even the way that they look. Like the people in that part of China, they look vastly different from the people in Guangzhou and even in Shanghai. They look very different. They looked more, I don't know I can't explain it, but you know what I'm talking about, right? So I bought the ticket, got up in the morning, go to the airport, and they tell me I cannot leave from Beijing and go back to America. And I'm like, when you just feel like I just got a cold chill went through my body because I couldn't believe it. Because I travel solo a lot. I've never been afraid to travel solo. And this was one of those moments that I said, okay, this is probably not a good idea, right? But I always know that the embassy is always a place that if you get into a jam, you have the American embassy if you don't have anything else. And I have, of course, the Creator with me at all times. And my angels that need a vacation because they work overtime, okay? So they tell me I have to go back to Shanghai. Can you believe it? I wasn't able to go back to America. So I had to go double back to Shanghai. And that means I have to buy another ticket at that moment. And my bank at the time, they knew that this strange activity couldn't continue. And then I didn't have those I already told you, I didn't have that Hong Kong kind of money to even hang out in Hong Kong. So I had made this was not going to go on much longer. Okay. The bank and me that was not in the plans at all. So the bank froze my account. And I was in Shanghai now, back in Shanghai, because I bought the ticket, went back, and I was like, okay, I'll just, charge it to the game. This was a lesson, okay, China, because I wasn't about to have a rant with them when they have armed guards everywhere, all up and down the airport, okay? And, you realize you're not in America. You're not going to be an American throwing a tantrum and ranting. Okay, what is that going to get you? Okay, so I simply slid down the wall, sat on the floor of the airport, and I just sat there and watched people for a while until I just contemplated my next step. And, I just sat there and I kicked myself. I was like, how you talk to yourself, Jen, this was real stupid, this is real dumb. This is the last time you do this dumb thing here. You had a good time, but you're really paying for it now. It was a great, great trip because it did. It turned out to be a great time. I met like my Ethiopian brothers. I met that cool guy from Korea who showed me around Shanghai. If he's still connected with me on Facebook, shout out to you in Korea. And of course, always a shout out to my Habeshas that are here in America and abroad and in the motherland of Ethiopia. So I sat there and sat there and sat there. You know, what am I going to do? I had plenty of time on my hands, okay? And then I start making phone calls to my mother, my brother, my daughter. And you know, they got into family mode, you know, and that's how family is there for your, you know, whenever you fall, even if it's a dumb blunder, it's always good that somebody has your back, okay? Cuz family is going to have your back. And that's one of the things, like when things are down to the realist, down to earth realness. If you're stuck in China, who you going to call? Hey there, Soul Yeshua. Hi, I haven't seen you in a while. Give some love to Soul Yeshua. Yeah, who you going to call when you're stuck in China? So I sat there because the next flight that I was going to get, it was in the morning or in some wee hours, right? So I was like, okay, I'll just hang out in the airport for hours and hours and hours and hours. And my brother, he is such a good brother. He's always been such a good brother. You know what he said? Jen, let me get you a hotel room. I look like, he looks up everything. You know, he anticipates your needs, and he was like, Jen, I'm gonna get you a hotel room so you don't have to stay in the airport all those hours, because you know how some people, he's not the kind of guy, okay? He ain't the dude that's gonna rough it on no travel. I will rough it. I'm like a traveler like that. I will rough it. I don't have to be in no luxury kind of digs and accommodations. Although I have been, and it's nice when I am in luxury, when I am blessed to enjoy a situation like that. Um, but it is not the norm, and it is not something that I want all the time. You know what I'm saying? So my brother was so sweet. He was like, no, Jen, I'm going to get you a hotel room. You don't need to be in there. No, but you know what? I realized, see, I'll just like look at it this way. If the flight, it's already late and stuff, and if I leave to go to the airport, I already don't, you know, I'm tired, but if I fall asleep, say you fall in a deep sleep and you didn't wake up in enough time to get the shuttle, because you have to shuttle over to this hotel. And if I really did that, I would have literally gotten maybe 2 hours of sleep, because you know how you're kind of concerned, especially after going through the situation of them running me back and forth between Shanghai and Beijing. I'm not going to really sleep too deeply, right? I'm kind of up, everybody, okay? So, yes, I see the troll. I got you. Thank you. Yep, troll. We don't want that here. Bye-bye. Maybe that will do it. The troll. Okay, let's see if that does it. So anyway, I decided to just rough it in the airport for the hours, the wee hours, because you know, I thought that, oh, something crazy will happen, you know, and I'll be stuck in Shanghai. Okay, so I went ahead and stayed in the airport, and I met people. I mean, I met so many people. It's like people from everywhere. It was like all over the world were there in Shanghai. I met people from Amsterdam. I met people from Africa, other African countries other than Ethiopia. I was just having a good time. And then I met one guy. He was a black guy, a black Brit. And he was an older gentleman, really nice. We were talking, and he did business in China. So he had been going to China since the 70s doing business. And he had a British accent. And you know how black Brits are? Just to hear a black person with a British accent is so cool. So he and I talked, and he liked the idea, the business idea that I had at the time, and he was giving me pointers. And I told, he was asking me about my trip, and whatever. He was headed back to England, to London. Actually, he lived in London. So he realized, like, after I told him about what had happened and everything, he discerned. And just because he was an older gentleman, he wasn't trying to hit on me. It was just, in traveling, you meet nice people. And if you put out certain energy, people are not going to be trying to, flirt and get, it's just like, it's just human beings engaging with each other. So he anticipated that I might have been a little hungry. So he invited me to come up to dinner. He was like, let's go grab dinner. He was like, I like this one restaurant up here. He pointed. They had like a little food court, but it was like real traditional, real Chinese restaurants. So he said, it's my treat. And so I just went up, and I was hungry, y'all. That's one of those moments that God loves you, because you're like, I don't know what I'm going to do, but I'm going to fit in all the clothes that are in my closet that I haven't been able to wear, because I'm going to be missing a few meals right now. And that's what I mean about roughing it. Like, some people couldn't travel and rough it and be nimble and go through a little hardship. Like, they kind of cry and whine. I go with the punches. I've always been like that. And people that travel with me who can't handle like changes in the disruptions, I can't travel with people like that. And that's why I travel solo a lot, because traveling is really like a spiritual thing for me. And I learn, and God is with me, and he speaks and he teaches me a lot of lessons when I travel. But, a lot of times you have to be in really good shape also. And I try to tell people, because, when I work with nurses and, the staff, and they might be like out of shape and stuff, and they're like, oh my God, Jennifer, I wish I could go to Egypt next time with you. And I'm looking, and I'm like, you can't even barely walk down the hallway without, being out of breath. And I'm not being shady, but going in a pyramid and climbing down into a pyramid, okay, it's like a little tunnel. And going in and out of pyramids, up and down in Egypt, you're in the Sahara Desert, okay? Some people are not ready for that kind of travel, because, if you live in New York City, that'll prepare you for travel, because some people could never live in New York City and thrive by any means, because you have to be nimble. You are climbing up and down subway steps. You are climbing up you're taking your bike up 4 flights of a brownstone. And, I would try to be very nice, but truthful to some people when they're like, I want to travel with you, Jennifer. I'm like, well, you're going to have to do a little conditioning first. And I kind of vet their attitude. If they're one of these people whining and complaining about little things, they're not my travel vibe. Okay. Because my travel vibe is like this. I'm going to figure it out. Me and my angels, God gave them instructions. We're going to get out of whatever it is, and I'm not going to be crying and complaining and whining. Do you want some cheese with that wine? Because, I have a lot of friends, the black boule, they're really bratty, I grew up with a lot of brats, and they probably think I'm a brat too. Whatever. I've been accused of a brat because I was an only child. So people assume that only children are spoiled and bratty. But okay, I'll take it. If you want to call me a brat, I'll be it. But, if people can't go flow, I'm like flowetry with it. If you're going to be talking a bunch of like negativity and you're going to be crying and whining, then I don't have that kind of travel vibe. It's just, so I met the guy. We ate a fabulous, let me tell you, he told me, you could get anything on the menu, Jen. Don't be shy. I was like, oh, Okay, you order for me, my new friend, and you got to let a man order for you, okay? Especially if they're paying. I'm eating whatever you order on the menu, friend, sir, and I let him order for me, okay? I know how to be feminine, fit and friendly. Kevin Samuels, okay? So he got me, he laid it out. We ate so well. So I had a nice full belly to wait for the hours and hours and hours that I had to sleep. You got to find yourself a nice little corner somewhere. Some people, they're going to stay in the chairs and sleep in the chairs. No, baby, I got to spread out, okay? I can't sleep in a chair. That's one thing I'll spread out on the grass if something, but it's very hard for me to sleep in a chair. So when you travel, you have to anticipate things. You always, like, as a woman, you should travel with scarves because you would be surprised the power of a scarf. Okay, ladies, get back to having a scarf in your pocketbook, your paper pocketbook, wherever you have, basket, underwater basket. Always have a scarf with you, ladies. Okay? Because a scarf will be your bed, maybe. It'll be your cover. Uh, it will be a few things for you. It will even be your mask when you refuse to put a mask on in Philadelphia when you had to travel during the really cuckoo time last year. And they're telling you that you had to wear a mask and you were about to go off, but something said, nope, let me open my suitcase. Oh, here's my mask. I have a scarf here. So I wrapped it around as if I was a woman that was a part of the Islamic religion or something. So I wrapped my scarf around very glamorous like. I felt like if I should have put my glasses. Oh, that would have been fun. I should have put on my big sunglasses when I did it. So I put that scarf around me and I walked right on in to the airport and it worked out. God, because you know what? I prayed because I had almost a panic attack because I had to travel because I had refused to fly, but I had to travel. So I didn't know what I was going to do, but I knew one thing. I wasn't going to be wearing a mask. So I said, Lord, please do what, help me. And he knows me. And the angels, my angels, they said, oh boy, here we go. We got to go with her through the airport. She's going to be, I don't know, we got to keep her from getting locked up in the Fed pen for going off with the TSAs. So I got the idea to put that scarf on. And that's what I mean, have a scarf. So when I had to sleep in the airport in Shanghai so that I could, fly back home, I then took my little nap. I found a little corner and, I was able to get up because you hear all the ambient noise in the background. So you're not going to oversleep. So I went ahead and got up. I was not fresh, but my mother definitely couldn't travel with me because she requires baths, 2 baths a day. So you already know you're not going to always get 2 baths or 2 showers a day. So she is not a traveler with me. Okay. Just local travel for Bathsheba. So, yeah, I wasn't fresh. She wouldn't have approved. She would have smelled me from the door. Okay. So I got up and, you do freshen up, Angela. You go to the bathroom, you do what you can. And I got on the plane and got back to America. So now I'm thinking, this is the thing I want to say. China. Okay, China. I'm wondering, were you trying to keep me over there? Was China trying to, what's your opinion? I'm not important or anything, but I'm just saying. Do you think China was trying to pull one on me? Because they had me going back and forth, right? They were telling me I couldn't leave. What was that about? I need to go home. But I was eventually, if they kept that going, I would have gone to the embassy, okay? And what do you think would have happened when I went to the embassy? I don't know, but I just, I would have gone to the embassy. And I tried to avoid that kind of situation. So I got back And now I'm thinking, I had a great time. I'm not trying to say that traveling to China has been bad. I love China. Okay. I love China. I love the people that I encounter. I understand that the people in the travel industry, the way that their society is so controlled. Oh, by the way, the man who had treated me to dinner, he told me that when he was traveling to Shanghai back in the 70s, he said you wouldn't have believed it. It was like everybody was in the same kind of like bowl haircut. They were in like, standard communist like attire, everybody, men and women, and they were all riding bicycles in the 70s over there in Shanghai. So when I went to Shanghai in the 220, when the last trip to China was in 2019. So when I was there in 2018, 2019. So when I was there, they were pushing Bentleys like you would have thought you were in Beverly Hills, okay, on Rodeo Drive. Those young Shanghaians, they had money. Their daddies are buying up America like commercial real estate, and they are minting billionaires. So their daddies are billionaires off of real estate investments here in America. So these are the young children of those tycoons. And they had so many malls, and they are very like, I just observed a lot of like designer clothing, and everything has to be a designer label. And they had a lot of Bentleys. I saw so many. You guys think you see Bentleys? Oh, you haven't seen Bentleys until you went to Shanghai. So, and these are young people like in their 20s pushing Bentleys. They got big shopping bags. I mean, they're living the large life. So, I like that movie. I really, I could relate to how that was so true when I watched that Crazy Rich Asians. Remember that movie, Crazy Rich Asians? I love that movie. That movie was so cute. Now I want to watch it again. Oh my God. But I haven't been watching movies. But anyway, I just wanted to say that he told me that he's watched Shanghai go through such a drastic change. So that's something to note, when you think about who has betrayed us, and this finesse that they've been doing out of Washington, selling off our sovereignty, our land, and all kinds of stuff. So I'm just saying that when you're in these cities, I'm wondering now, are these cities like Amazon cities like Shanghai and Guangzhou? Definitely not Beijing. Beijing, I didn't get to see a lot of it, but what I got to see, it looks like that's where the hub of government is. So that, it felt really like Washington to me, like, but it didn't feel like Shanghai. Shanghai was like New York City or Paris or something like that. And I just feel like maybe it's like a Potemkin village, I'm wondering now. I'm wondering, is this the smart cities that they talk about? Is Shanghai a smart city? And the real people, like the real errants, are the people like you will not see them. You will just see the people that are complying, that are reading from the scripts, that aren't deviating from the scripts. Where are the people like us over in China? Where are they? And that's why I wanted to run this by you as I sat out here thinking about it. And it was from reading that sister's like comment. I said, wow, to meet the real people of the soil in China, I wonder, are they the ones that are hidden so well? They are the ones that are producing all of that designer stuff that we wear. They are living in factory prisons where, I'm just saying, this is what is coming to me. Because when I was over there, like in Guangzhou, Guangzhou is where they make all the designer clothing. So you'll have like designer labels, and their factories are in Guangzhou. So you can get designer things really, really cheap. And if you know how to bargain with them, like, you have to tell them, like, it was a little Chinese lady who would come up to you in the marketplace with a calculator, and she's got a really great personality. She's like talking to an American, like she has the same humor. And so she'll say, do you want anything? She'll help you find something. If you want tailor-made clothing, if you want anything, she can get it for you. And she'll ask you what price you want. So she'll hand you the calculator and she'll say, what price do you want? Do you want family price? Do you want sister price? I'm like, you better give me sister price, And she's talking to you like she knows a little negrescence, like, she knows the vernacular. I'm going to tell you, they really study culture. And that's why they are number one. They didn't get to that place just by chance. They have really learned the game, and they have mastered the game, and they can out manufacture. And I know it's because I know they have the advantage of the manufacturing, but also they have a certain quality to their work ethics and things like that. So I'm just saying, I'm wondering now, if you behave right and you have a social credit score that is high enough, that means you can work in the airport, you can be out and about in society. But if you're like us, those kind of people are the ones you're not going to meet, I'm thinking, because they're in the prisons. The prisons are really the labor prisons. That's where the factories that make all the designer things. So you see what I'm saying? See where I'm going? I took 2 hours to come to this. Thank you if you're still watching. But I did come back to my point, didn't I? I made my point original from the title, is that I'm now thinking, for anybody that loves designer stuff, we have to really think about what we have desired and who gave us this desire to have these things. And if we knew the cost that comes with manufacturing these things, I don't think we would want them, because now in my discernment, I am seeing that the people that don't have the social scores, and possibly the people that are truthers in China, and maybe an ethnicity or religion that goes against the state, then it would be easy to see them placed in these factories, because you wouldn't see them, and their crimes could be made up to be anything that goes against the government, the CCP, right? So they're the ones making these items. So how does that feel, to imagine that people that don't want to play the game, who are criminalized for being freedom loving, for wanting to have their own farmland, and not be told that they can't have a big family. They are only relegated to a one-child policy. That one-child policy is so cruel that if a person on the factory floor is maybe showing signs of being nauseous, then they encourage your coworkers to snitch you out. As if they see any signs, like you go to the bathroom too much, or you were nauseous and you vomited and somebody heard you in the bathroom. So they're going to go tell the boss, and then they're going to do pregnancy tests right on the factory floor. And if you are found to be pregnant, they do an immediate abortion right there. So this is the cost of wanting to have all of this materialism and not having ethics, and wanting to know the chain of command, the chain of custody. Who is making this, and is it ethical? Is it humane? Why do I want this stuff? Why do I have to have these letters all over my clothes and my handbags? Why do I have to walk in a room and be, legitimized because of my handbag? You know, I used to be friends with women who literally told me that the women in that circle will not even consider you important enough to give attention to even speak to if you don't walk in with a certain Louis Vuitton bag. You're judged by your handbag. And if they knew the cost that goes into their handbags, they do it thoughtlessly. We're doing it thoughtlessly. We are going to have to reevaluate our relationship to materialism and the manufacturing processes. We have to bring it back here. We have to make our own stuff. And we have to hold companies accountable. Because I don't feel good about that now that I'm thinking about it. That I could have been walking all around a Potemkin village like a Disney type of thing. They were just showing me their best face. All the people that comply, that are good citizens of the state, they are the ones allowed to participate in society. So you'll see them. And we give them all the toys as long as they cooperate. But the people who want freedom, they are being abused. They are making things. They are slaves. So I feel like Amazon and companies like that, they want to create smart cities where you live, play, work. Oh, the butterflies are, they're fluttering all around. I don't know what it is that I have planted. They are everywhere. God planted it. I'm not taking any credit because I definitely can't figure out why there are so many butterflies here in the sanctuary. But you know, I just wanted to say that tripped off this thought pattern for me, just to speak to the issue. Like, was China trying to pull something on me? Like when I traveled, that whole thing, like what was going on? Oh, the butterflies are beautiful. They're not just monarchs. It's all different patterns. So I'm seeing monarchs. I'm seeing this kind of yellow and black kind of, it looks like a leopard print almost. And then the black butterflies, did I say that already? Monarchs. And oh my, it would make my day if I saw a hummingbird. But anyway, I want to thank those that have been hanging out in the radio chatmosphere, because radio is teaching me to listen. And I want to thank Kevin Gills again, because he mentioned some things in it, and that's what inspired like the radio thing, is to start moving content off of this platform that makes us say jabs, and they harass people with the censor. It's like China. You know, when I was in China, by the way, when I had my laptop and stuff and logged on to Google, I was not allowed to search for anything. Everything that you search for is completely controlled by the government over there. So can you imagine the echo chamber that the people are in? The people that have the high social credit score, they're walking around in a reality that's not real. The people in the factory were the ones that got the leaks and the whistleblower reports. So they know what's really going on in China. But those happy people that are driving around in Bentleys and all their shopping bags full of designer stuff, they don't know about the world outside. They're in a real Black Mirror reality. And I'm saying that not from a place of pride and haughtiness, because what is really happening for me is that I felt bad for them over there, but it's really us that I feel bad for, because we're the real enslaved people, because we really believe that we're free. We really are under a delusion, because if people are walking around and doing business as usual, they are really like, it's just like they're the same like the NPCs that I encountered in China, the people with the high social scores that watch their CNN and believe it all. That's them. And even though I couldn't search for things On Google, I couldn't do anything, y'all. I couldn't search for nothing. Everything was like very controlled. And of course, it gave China like a very perfect appearance. So I'm now questioning America and the fact that we have this false sense of freedom. And we should all be like we should all be thinking about how to take back Main Street, like have a renaissance. I know that Beyonce has an album right now, Renaissance, and I've heard people say that it's like, it's not so great. She tried to do house music. I don't know, is that her? I don't believe it's her. I don't know who that is. I don't know. Allegedly, it's a weirdness going on with the whole celebrity thing. They're all falling, and if whatever they are, you could call them clones, whatever they are, soulless beings that they are, and they're just like characters. When they sign up to become part of the industry, their name is now claimed, they're owned, the contract is a complete soul swap. So they can swap people out. Now we see it. They can, they got life insurance policies with death clauses and all kinds of weirdness. So we don't know what we're looking at. We don't know what's going on with these people. Are we looking at CGI? Whatever. We don't know. But the point is that these people are wicked, clearly wicked. But whatever renaissance that she's claiming, it's the Klaus Schwab type of reset renaissance. And they've already declared that they got their renaissance through their reset. And they're causing as much chaos and collapse as they can, because they realize they already ruined everything. They can't get themselves out of a debt-based economy. You can't revive something that started out as a grift and a finesse over down in Jekyll Island. Federal Reserve, all that. Thank you for letting me know about the troll. But I thank you all. Let me put the radio. If you want to check out what I'm doing, it's developing, I'll say. I want to move more off of these platforms and I want to create more content. I have ideas, but I'm working to create a website. So I have a hub and develop some different type of internet real estate. You know what I'm saying? And especially having that kind of thing, so that when I move forward, I don't have to worry about, if they do this, if they do that. But, it's always something that they're doing, So if you want to listen to some nice music, and I consider this the musical trust, I'm going back and listening with new ears to a lot of the music that I call the soundtrack to our life. And, I'll mix in some of the newer things, especially if it's very soulful. I want us to definitely not give up on the newer, younger artists, because there are some good young artists that are really doing true music, and they should be acknowledged. And we have to just push out all the fake stuff and the over synthesized and crazy stuff, and bring back some bands, some instruments, and real, real people, not these manufactured hoes, 304s. Nobody wants that 304 filthy culture. And now with monkeypox here on the scene, I told you guys the 304s are not winning, okay? And monkeypox is here to, it's a day of reckoning, okay? Monkeypox is scaring the pox out of people, okay? I'm not laughing about it, but I'm not going to get scared either. And for people that are making jokes about, this stuff, just know this is like a circle back to the AIDS epidemic. There were people that didn't want to touch a person with AIDS. Families were putting their loved ones out of the house because they had AIDS. Oh, we don't want to use the same plates and forks as you. And I took care of these poor, you know, abandoned human beings. I did as a young nurse. I touched them with my hands without gloves. I loved on them. I wasn't afraid of them. And nor was I afraid with anybody with Soko Coco. I went into a room up in New York one day. It was this really pretty Indian girl. She was like my age, right? And she had gone to some wedding, and I guess they all tested positive, whatever that was. You know, it's so stupid. Don't get me started. So she was in the hospital room. They put her in a negative pressure room, which is already going to make you feel like you have, like, you know, some, like the plague or something. And I went into her room, right? You know how negative pressure rooms are. If anybody knows, you have to walk in. It's like a little it depends on the hospital. So I had gone in, and I didn't put a mask on. I was just being me, Jennifer, okay, Nurse Jenny. And I walked into her room, and her eyes got so big. She was so pretty too. I'll never forget. And I was like, "Hey girl." And she was so happy just to have somebody, cuz the fear frequency was so high. And I can't stand you scared ass nurses. Why are you a nurse? Scared. That's not a nurse. Nurses are not scared, okay? And that's from a nurse that is, I've been in it over 30 years. And you little scaredy cats, you're not nurses. You're scared of monkeypox already. One person said they're a healthcare worker and they're scared of monkeypox. You saw the viral video of these dum-dums talking, and they were in a hospital. Stupid as that. Putting it on camera. These are the people now, the stupid idiots that are infested in the healthcare profession. They're making videos they're on video talking about how they are not going to take care of somebody with monkeypox. And they're making jokes and laughing about it. And now the damn video went viral on World Star Hip Hop. How dumb. I'm sure those dummies don't have a job after that. So to say, and then somebody in healthcare said they want the jab for the monkeypox because they're scared. So they're looking for the new jab. So you know what? I don't know what to say. I'm going to keep going on and on and on. I'm just like over people like that. I'm just so over it. And Paul Romano was totally right when he said this is the year of the dummy. It really is the year of the dummy. But in the meantime, I got to get into some creative things. I have my Blissy, my lip. I say it's like lipstick, but my Bliss stick helps me when I go into the stores and I see the people in their fearfulness. I didn't have fear with the AIDS patients either. I didn't have fear for these. Oh, by the way, the lady, when I walked into her room and I didn't have the mask, and she was like, "You don't have a mask on." I said, "No, I'm not scared of this stuff." And she was so happy. She was so happy. And we just talked for a while. And she told me about the wedding. And, I just had a moment just talking to her. And that was just one of those. I had some really good experiences with patients that I'll never forget. One patient, when I did my Long Island part of my assignment, Josephine, she loved Long Island. She loved the hotel we lived in. What was it? Times Square. She liked that too. But when we were on Long Island, we were in a brand new hotel, and it was, had a big kitchen and everything. I was like always ordering or I was always going to places to get food because, I had to cook. So I would hit the thing and bring up my shopping. I put it on the luggage cart and bring up my little bags, and Josephine would come out. It was so cute. I have pictures. I'll probably share my experience. But yeah, Josephine has been a good companion. We were flying and it'd be like nobody on the plane. And they say, you could sit in first class. It was so funny. So Josephine has been my buddy. So if anybody asks, she is redeemed, and she's special. She's a very special blessing. So if you're wondering about the black cat that you see all the time, you'll hear me talk about her, Josephine. And let me tell you one more story. When I was in New York and Long Island, there was a lady, and she was what you would say, like, if you were to say a stereotypical Jewish woman from New York. She had the accent, really strong accent. And, I could say that. Listen, I've been around, look, okay, I got a Jewish mom, so shut up. Don't come for me. Okay. So she had that stereotypical thing, they call it the Jewish American princess. You know what I'm talking about. And so she was in the room and she was miserable. When I say miserable, a complete miserable person. And, she was crying a lot. And I forget what she was in for. It wasn't for the cocoa. I mean, people had other stuff going on. It wasn't all cocoa. They wanted you to think it was all cocoa related, but she was in there for something. And, she couldn't have her family with her. She was a young, married woman. So she had her kids. So, she wasn't happy. They weren't allowing the families to be with people. And that would really help to make a person's outlook a little better. So here she is, double misery without her husband and children around and probably extended family. And so everybody, like the staff, by the way, if you're a miserable patient, that's not a good idea, okay? Because when you need your pain meds, the nurse is not going to rush to your room if you're miserable. I'm just saying, you get more with honey than with vinegar. So she was one of those patients that you heard the nurses and the staff like moan and groan when they had to deal with her. So, that's a bad thing to have that kind of out, that energy that you're putting out. So I had her as a patient and I was just thinking, I don't want to have a bad shift. Let me figure something out with her. Me and her are going to have, I don't know, come into Jesus, whatever. Because I like to have good time with my patients. I don't like it to be miserable. Even if it is a miserable situation, I try to always put them in a better mood, make them laugh. Part of my care is to make them laugh, okay? And I try really hard to do it. I get it right sometimes and they laugh and get those endorphins going, right? So I just realized like everybody hates her. So they're not spending time with her, avoiding her room as much as possible. So that's going to really, it's just going to aggravate the situation. So I had to go into her room and hang an IV, piggyback antibiotic or something. And something just told me to talk to her, just to take a few minutes and talk to her. She was just talking to me. And I said, it was something she mentioned that she loved the song by Dionne Warwick, What the World Needs Now is Love, Sweet Love. So she had mentioned that to me like in conversation. And that's what happens sometimes. I'm listening to them and picking up different things and I'll remember like a little detail. And it was in something in the conversation she had just let me know that was her favorite song. So I went into her room and I had my phone and I pulled it up. I downloaded the song. I didn't have it on my playlist, but I downloaded it just for her. And then I went in and sat by her bedside and I played the song for her. And she wept. She wept. Okay. It was really hard for me. I have become a little bit robotic, and that's probably from being in nursing a little too long, that I was worried that for a period of time, I wasn't able to cry. And I was like, something's wrong with me, mom. I'm not able to cry anymore. I think I've been a nurse too long. Like, really, it worried me because, crying is natural. But for a period of time, I literally was like, nothing comes out of my eyes, like no water. What's going on? And, it was hard. I held back the tears, but she cried. She cried. And the weeping was like it was a release of some sort. And that song, I listened to it with her crying over it, but it was like something cathartic was happening to her. It was a catharsis. And that's why if you wonder why I'm moving into the radio space, like pirate radio, talk radio, coast to coast weirdness, it's because I know that the soundtrack to my life in your life, it does things that are cathartic. And the cry that she let out, she felt so much better afterwards. And she and I, we bonded. It was a special bond. And you know what? She stopped being such a pain in the ass, actually. Actually, okay? Especially if she knew I was on, she was behaving for the staff, okay? So I have my untraditional ways, and I don't expect I'm not everybody's cup of kombucha, and that's okay. Because I've reached an age where I'm okay with that. If you rock with me, I rock with you. And I love you all in the chatmosphere. I got some fun things planned. But if you want to come over and see the crazy thing that Jen is doing with the pirate radio station, they should have never let her have a radio station. And I'm working on a website. I'm doing it myself. Okay. So I'm developing different skills, Mom. I went to nursing school, but now I'm learning how to do this right now. And it's leading to something. I'm just saying it's a process. Okay. It's a process. God has me on another journey. And like I shared with you, let's do a little call and response and have a little fun, but I think it will be a good thing. When I say 410, I want you all to say start, just start again. Start again. 410, just start again. And I'll tell you why I'm saying it. There is a reason. I was really inspired by the scripture in Zechariah. Thank you, Akjolie. Start again. The scripture in Zechariah that reads, do not despise these small beginnings, for the Lord rejoices to see the work begin. Just begin again. A lot of us have been displaced by the great resignation. A lot of us have. And you may have to learn a new skill. You may have to do something that's so uncomfortable that you're not used to. You may think that you're aged out of this technology. Let me tell you, you're not. I'm a Gen Xer and I'm like a techie nerd. I don't care. I love it. And I've learned a lot through the YouTube University. That's why I'm not going to completely try to leave the YouTube space. I'm not going to let Susan Wojcicki and all those lizards make me leave. Not until I'm ready, because that's how I am. I'm not leaving until I'm ready, okay? And I'm going to stick around here no matter what they do to my channel. Wojcicki and all them, like I'll look at my like things sometimes because I don't focus on the numbers, but they play around with and they did that to the other channel that they took away. They would take my numbers up and down and play around with it. They would take view counts down. I mean, they play a lot of games, but this is all going to be their judgment. They're piling their judgment up against them. So it's just one of those things that we're just going to watch it play out. So I will do content over here just as well. And maybe I'll do these kind of things. If you want to pop up, hey, pop up. I will do that as well, because I've enjoyed this. I really have. Ernestina, look at that. Ernestina joining from South America. Welcome, sis. Love you. Yes. So, if you have to start over, just take an approach to it, like a childlike, imaginative. You're probably needing to flow more in this creative space in like food security and things of that nature, so you can be a storehouse for others, because people are walking around and acting like things are just like everything is everything. So we're going to have to be the storehouse for a lot of people that are very NPC like. These are the CNN viewers. So just know that, you may be called, because the church has failed in America. The church has failed. They're not going to be a storehouse. They're too busy. You got Bishop Passa up in Brooklyn with his Louis Vuitton Fendi suits and his $2 million homes. These people are disgusting, and they're falling. Have you noticed, like, they're dragging that bishop? He will have to flee. He is going to be so disgraced. He will not be able to walk around in Fendi suits anywhere. And that's the energy that we're in right now, because this is the day of reckoning. The creator, we have taken his grace and trampled it. And now it's time for law and order, and we have to self-govern, but we can't do harm to others and to his creation. It's very simple. It's not a lot to do to live by the supreme law of the creator. It really isn't. So, I enjoyed this a lot. And over on the radio, I'll be doing the live steaming. I'm saying it's like steampunk vapor radio. I'll be over there on Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Sundays. It's fairly easy, isn't it? Everybody who's been over there, isn't it kind of easy to get onto the app? It's stationhead.com / Jenny the Jawn. Okay, so if you want to find me over there on Tuesdays, Thursdays, Sundays for now. And I'll add more time as I get used to. I'm working to get better at doing it. It's new for me, so as I grow and improve, you'll watch my process if you want to go on this journey, please. And 11 o'clock brunch hour a.m. Eastern time. So there'll be set time. So 11 a.m. Eastern time and 11 p.m. So it's like a shift. So it's 11 to 11, the 12-hour shift. So I'll be on the day shift. Boy, that would have been nice to go in at 11, right, nurses? Don't they call that the princess shift? They used to have a princess shift when I worked at Grady in Atlanta. But so 11 a.m. brunch hour. And I want you to make brunch and do things. If you're driving around doing your activities of daily living, have me in the background. Why not? Because it's commercial-free radio. You might like it, okay? And I talk about all of this stuff. It's just like more free it feels, okay? And I want to get to the point where I'm working on learning how to do call-in. So I want to have call-ins just like the old days, okay? So I'm working on that, and it'll be fun to have you all calling in and requesting songs and talking to me. And if you have suggestions, things like that. The next show that will come up tomorrow, Thursday, beginning at 11 a.m., I'm going to focus on the British soul. Somebody has inspired that, okay? One of our Brit sisters. So I'm going to be focused on British soul music, and that starts at 11 a.m. Eastern time. Then I do a night shift, and I try to make it a little more quiet stormish, okay? Remember the quiet storms growing up? And again, I'll be doing the call-ins. Now, if you want to support the work that I'm doing, and I appreciate all of that, you don't have to. It's kind of like PBS. If you want to support me as a content creator, and you can do it right here, PayPal and Cash App. And thank you for all the lovely support. And thank you. I missed you. A super chat came in. I'm sorry, I was in a zone. I'm going to look and see. Thank you for the super chat. I really, really thank you. I don't see it. I'm scrolling to see. I saw a super chat come in. I'm sorry if I missed it. I was kind of in a flow, but thank you for still hanging on. If you're still here from Facebook, Twitch, in the chatmosphere. Yeah, Molly Moose, there it is. I found it. Thank you for the super sticker. I love you, Molly. And Molly's been hanging out in the chatmosphere on our radio Vapor Steam. So I love you all. I'm going to be I got to call up and work something out with me working on my website. I'm trying to work all this stuff in between. And I've been calling in for some of them. So I'm going to try to catch that. And I'm going to work on that stuff, and I will see you soon. Thank you, Kay. Oh, another super sticker from Kay. Thank you, Kay Grace, and I love you all super. And Shayna's here. Hey, Sheena. See, Sheena knows about permaculture. She's always teaching in the Chatmosphere. I love you for that. It's all Robert Plant live a couple of times at the Spirit of the Swanee, and we made eye contact. I had my flashy piggy tail. Uh-oh, look at you with a bikini. Uh-oh. And he had made, I bet he did make eye contact with you, Shayna, with your bikini and pigtails during the concert. I know. See, there are all these memories, okay? If you want me to play a little Robert Plant, what I want to say is, even though I know we know a lot about the music, this is a way to re-listen to this music, because this is our music trust. It really is. And it's the soundtrack to our lives. And also, music can be a form of, it can be a form of a diagnostic tool, because some music will trigger emotions, and this can be a way to know if you have any hidden trauma, maybe, or something you got to work on, you know, and it might be deep down there buried, and maybe a song might be the thing to bring it up, like, I need to deal with that. Maybe this is still bothering me. Maybe I need to call that person and work something out that I did. You know, this song made me think of when I threw a glass of wine in the person's face, you know, and maybe I need to call and ask, can I take care of the dry cleaning at least? So just know that the songs may trigger. You might have been an ass, and maybe you need to pay for someone's dry cleaning, or maybe you need to just say, sorry, I was wrong. I voted for Joe Biden. I said I was riding with Biden, and now nobody's riding anywhere. We're about to become like Shanghai in the 70s with bicycles and bowl haircuts, right? So I'm sorry. Let's listen to music and break bread together, okay? So it's okay. We love you. Thank you for the troll alert. Thank you. Thank you. Karen, do you still have the thing, or did it not show up because I did not? I don't know. See, I'm still learning, but Karen has a wrench, for God's sakes. Did it show up as Karen still here? Hey, Juan, thank you for letting me know. In fossil fools. I like that. Sean, you are always making me laugh. I love it. So I love you all. I love us for real. Okay. Like Monique says, I love us for real. So I'll see you soon. I'll be probably pondering things. Maybe I'll come and talk and chat like this while I'm outside, you know, because this is when things kind of occur to me. Maybe China was trying to pull something on me. But, you know, if I had traveled, imagine if I had traveled to China when Jojo Magoo was president, though. If I had traveled, like if I had to go to the embassy because China was trying to pull one on me, you know, I would have just, like, Trump would have got me out of it. I'm just going to say, okay? Don't you think Trump would have said, okay, y'all playing too much. Get that crazy nurse back here. She didn't do anything. It's your fault. She's coming back home. You know, so I would have felt a little more comfortable with you know, hell, I would have felt better if Obama was in office rather than Jojo Magoo with what happened to me in China. But I'm just saying, if people are traveling now and something comes up, God forbid, and you have to go to the embassy, I'm just saying, you got better angels than me if you're going to take that on. And that's not to put fear in you. It's just to say you need to rethink it, okay? Yeah, Trump would have got me home. Lady Knievel said, Trump would have got me home. I love it. So I love you all. I may come back sooner than I think because this has been fun, okay? So anyway, I will be doing things and I will be checking back with you soon. Love you and have fun the rest of your day.